Pretend Farmer Girl, and today I'm going to be canning Asian pears. I looked all over the internet and there's a lot of videos on canning pears, but not specifically Asian pears. So this is my son's house. I'm going to go ahead and pick the pears and show you what's next. Alright, so I ended up with little over 24 pounds of pears. Now these Asian pears are pretty small, and I tried to get the skin off by boiling it. I did 1 minute, and then I did 2 minutes, and then put them in the cold water, and the skins are not budging. So I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way, and I'm going to peel, cut, and core 24 pounds of pears, and I will let you know how long it takes. I am going to start now. I think I'll put a movie on my iPad and just go with it, right? It took me a little over 2 hours to do all of the 24 pounds of pears. I did them all by hand. I did get my apple peeler core out, but because the pears were so small, it ended up taking off too much of the flesh. So I just did them all by hand. Here's all the peelings and cores, and I'm going to use that to make some jelly or syrup later. But I wanted to show you my setup. Here is my crock pot with my lids, keeping them warm. Here is my doohickey that you pull the lids out so that you don't burn yourself. This is the jar lifter. Here is my sugar heavy syrup boiling and ready for the pears. Here is my water bath canner. Whenever I do this, I always keep the jars warm this way, and so basically I'll put the jars in, I'll fill it up with water till it's at the top, and that way when I drop them back in with the fruit in it, the water will cover, because sometimes it's a guessing game, like how much water should I put in. So that's what I do to keep them warm. And the difference with Asian pears is you have to put lemon juice or citric acid in them, because they aren't acidic enough for just water bath canning. And pressure canning, there's really nothing out there, plus they get really mushy. So if I were to try that, so I'm doing it this way. And for quarts, it'll be a ½ teaspoon of citric acid in the jars. So also, just so I don't forget, I am going to go ahead and put the ½ teaspoon of citric acid in all the jars while they're waiting right now in the water bath counter, because the last thing I want to do is forget to put the citric acid. Worst case scenario, we eat them right away, but definitely want them to be on the shelf for a while. Here is the first batch in. I'm going to bring it to a boil and let it boil for a few minutes. And this is called the hot pack method, and I will show you so I don't move around too much for you. These have been boiling for 5 minutes, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take them and pack this jar like completely full, because they're such small pieces. Oh, okay. You didn't see that one go on the floor, did you? Just like this is hot packing, just like anything else. Oops, sorry about that. So I have that in pretty good. Probably gonna add a couple more pieces in there. I need to get my tripod out. Oops. Alright, so you can see how well those are in there. Now I'm going to get some syrup. And by the way, this is heavy syrup. It was recommended for the pears. It's amazing that there is really not that much information out there on Asian pears. fill it to about a 1/2 inch from the top. And then this is my handy dandy bubble debubbler. So you basically have to push it through to get as many of the bubbles out as you can. And you know, I'm not canning for an award, so I didn't necessarily remove all of the spots that are there. So you basically just want to really get in there, make sure all the bubbles come out. And I think I'm going to add one more of these, because you can see it's going to push down. Take a little bit of the liquid out. It looks like about 1/2 inch. Sorry. All right. Now I have some vinegar sitting here. Please don't judge me for this poor video quality, but hopefully you're learning something. I'm going to wipe the rims. Get one of my hot lids. Set it on. Hot, hot, hot. Now, I'll lift this up and set it in the canner. The water's hot, and until the rest of them are ready, I will turn my first batch in. I'm going to bring the pot up to boil, and then when it boils, I will let it go for 25 minutes. The thing is to remember to add vinegar into the water. That was the vinegar that I was wiping the edges with, so I might as well put it to use. And I will be back when they're done. The first batch finally boiling in there. I've set the timer for 25 minutes, and we'll see how it goes. But I wanted to show you what I did here. This is the rest of the pears. I have 7 quarts in there. I'm probably going to get at least that many. Since these are Asian pears and they're so hard, I'm just going to let them boil a little bit more. I'm going to bring them up to a boil and let it boil for a while, just because I'm concerned that the Asian pears are going to be super hard even after I cooked them for 5 minutes before I put them in the jars, and the 25 minutes of water bath. So we'll see, but it'll also make it go faster, because it was very difficult to have to keep warming up just a small amount to put in the jars. So probably wouldn't be a good idea with any soft fruit like peaches or anything like that. But either way, for this I decided to do just bring them in up to a boil in the syrup and simmer them on low. PretendFarmerGirl, and I would say overall it's a win. The thing that I do like about these is they don't have any grittiness like from regular pears. It's kind of like they have good texture. They're not anyway crunchy, but they still have structure and they're not squishy. It was called for a heavy syrup, but I ended up putting, a 1/2 teaspoon of citric acid in each one. So I would say it does affect the sweetness a little bit, but overall I would do it again. This is PretendFarmerGirl signing out.